poked and prodded my way into a world that did not welcome questions. Cameras, notebooks, or tape recorders were the badges of authority, an enemy that was universally despised, feared, frustrated, and fought. I had spent many years, in many different places, researching books of many different kinds, but in Berlin, I learned how to do it deadpan. When I was still at school, I was captivated by the world of espionage, as depicted, and to some extent created, in the mind of that master craftsman, Eric Ambler. On the screen, Eric's wonderful writing was interpreted in the wet, shiny, cobbled back alleys and smoke-filled subterranean bars of Central Europe. Women, all resembling Marlene Dietrich, smoked black cigarettes held in long ivory holders while being serenaded by a doleful violin. This was Eric's world, and I revelled in it. Later, Eric and his wife became our close friends, and we shared and multiplied the icons of our dreams. For me, Eric's world of espionage was claustrophobic, and I relished it. But things changed rapidly. That was not the world I wrote about in the Ipcress file, and it was certainly not Bernard's world. In planning this Samson series, I knew that Hook would record a change of mood. Here the story must open out and reflect more of the things happening around me. Bernard goes to Vienna and Salzburg, two cities which I had come to know some years earlier. As will become evident, there was a need to reach a climax, or at least a milestone in the overall story, a place that would prepare me and you for the change in style and method that Spy Sinker, the final book of the second trilogy, was to use. It is a curious feature of all true and real investigations that the most vital breaks come without effort or warning. This is so for Bernard, and Spy Line follows him as he stumbles back and resumes his normal life and work, while still absorbed by the questions posed by his wife and the tight-lipped men for whom he works. My wife, and both my sons, have always maintained that my musical taste tends to favour the minor keys. Eventually, I yielded to their judgment. I like the minor keys, and a whole opera in a minor key is not too much for me. Line is a book written entirely in a minor key. Line depicts Samson at the nadir of his life and career. A hurtful and foolish outburst directed at someone who loved him desperately shows that he is bruised and battered by events as he moves slowly to a denouement that is professionally successful and personally catastrophic. And in its last chapters there are 3 finales. In one, Bernard learns more about his father, and we learn about the cryptic end of the book Winter. Stunned and depressed, Bernard discovers too late that what is said can never be unsaid. His immediate sense of loss is palpable. A 3rd finale follows. It is both an end and a beginning. The next book, Spy Sinker, will have to start the story all over again. Len Deighton, 2010. Chapter 1. Glasnost is trying to escape over the wall and getting shot with a silenced machine gun, said Kleindorf. That's the latest joke from over there. He spoke just loudly enough to make himself heard above the strident sound of the piano. His English had an American accent that he sometimes sharpened. I laughed as much as I could, now that he told me it was a joke. I'd heard it before, and anyway, Kleindorf was hopeless at telling jokes, even good jokes. Kleindorf took the cigar from his mouth, blew smoke at the ceiling, and tapped ash into an ashtray. Why he was so finicky, I don't know. The whole damned room was like a used ashtray. Magically, the smoke appeared above his head, writhing and coiling like angry grey serpents trapped inside the spotlight's beam. I laughed too much. It encouraged him to try another one. Pretty faces look alike, but an ugly face is ugly in its own way, said Kleindorf. Tolstoy never said that, I told him. I'd willingly play the straight man for anyone who might tell me things I wanted to know.